Hi, Brynn. Thanks for coming
Hello,
on the
Kelly.
show. Yay! So, I think you're coming up relatively soon on your 1 year anniversary inside the Hive. How's it been going?
It's been going great. I've been plugging away at the modules and all the recordings and everything,
Yeah,
kind of doing things, on my time. But your program really allows for that. There's a lot of flexibility in it. So I've been
yeah,
using that to my advantage. And then I love the calls. I mean, that's why I joined the Hive was because of your coaching style and
hmm,
just um, the level of the other coaches that are in the Hive too. I feel like naturally just kind of brings me to that next level. So
yeah. I think our community, and I always feel like a nerd talking about this because who has a group program and doesn't say how great their community is, right? But our community actually is very unique and special. So my favorite thing are the calls too. I love them. I'd host one every day if people would come. All right. So I'm excited for our conversation today. Can you fill our listeners in on what you want to coach around? And you'll probably have to give them a little bit of context or backstory as well.
yeah, so I have a power group right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's three. It's a group of three. And this is the second power group that I've had. The first one that wrapped up in the fall as they were coming to completion. I kind of just winged it as to kind of like what was next for them, and I offered them private coaching, so to move from that group coaching to private coaching. Um and I had some maybe, and then I had some sure off no's, and it was like, I think they really enjoyed the group. So
Yeah.
now with this group that I have, I want to help kind of formulate what's next for them by keeping them in a group container rather than offering them private coaching as an option.
Yeah. I remember the first time I don't want to call it a mistake, but I did a similar thing where, okay, this power group is wrapping up. Ooh, I'm going to offer everyone privates. Look how lucky they are. Nobody wanted me, they wanted the group.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a really good ego check. Okay, so you have a power group right now that's wrapping up, and you want to be prepared for the what's next conversation, and you want to make sure that the thing you're offering is actually the thing that they want.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so what's our timeline here? Like, how many weeks do we have until the group actually completes?
Yeah. So my program is 12 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And they are on week 8.
Okay.
Yeah. Week 8. Yes.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
So this is for you. It's also for our listeners. Everybody, we have to think about what's next for our clients, and we have to start planting seeds for that right about this week, Brynn. So if it's a 12-week program, about 3/4 of the way through, you begin the conversation around what are we doing next and how do you know if that thing is for you. So typically, the first seed I plant is something like, okay, we're 3/4 of the way through. Some of you might be planners, which means you're starting to ask, I wonder what's going to happen when this program is over. I want to say two things about that. Number one, we're still here in this group and we want to run through the tape of this group. So everybody stay focused on the actions that we're taking. Let's get the most out of this time together. Number two, there will be an opportunity to continue this work if it feels aligned for you. We will talk more about that in the coming weeks. So it's a little too early to pitch anything, but I think it's really important to invite people to just start thinking about what might come next.
Mm.
Okay, so if it were up, I'm just going to go to the first question that came to my mind. And it's just going to sound like a suggestion, which is not good coaching, but why can't you just invite them to renew for another 12 weeks?
Oh, that's a good question. So, in my 12 weeks, It is twice a month coaching, and then I have recorded modules for them. In
Mm-hmm.
that 12 weeks, I don't want to, they don't, the foundation is there. I don't, they might learn some new things. We might go the next level with supplements or herbs, or we might take it that next step, but the learning is going to be in the calls. I don't want to have recorded modules continuously.
Right. Right. So I love that you're saying this for two reasons. Number one, you don't want to put yourself in the position where you're just cranking out content for the sake of cranking out content. And number two, you said it, your clients don't need more content. So what is it they need? This is the perfect question to ask. All right, we're going to continue on. Before I just whip up more modules, right? Let's get really clear on what is the support and the container that people need next.
So, if I had to guess, I would
Mm-hmm.
say the needs of my clients would be accountability,
Yep.
support, guidance. You know, the when the shit hits the fan and you fall off track and you want to get back on, just that to be like, hey, this is normal. This is what happens. And to kind of normalize that roller coaster, I feel
Yep.
like. Um, but also, you know, for my clients in life after breast cancer, you, oh, man, that's a roller coaster in and of itself, right? So you've got fear and anxiety that increases with doctor's visits or lab
Ugh.
draws or scans that have to be done. So just to know that you have that support for all of those things. I mean, because this doesn't go away, you know, like
Yeah.
I look at myself 17 years out from my diagnosis and it doesn't go away. Like I still need somebody to tell me it's okay.
Yes.
So I know that these women need the same thing.
Yes. Yeah. Would it be helpful at all? It might be a little late, but let's find out. For you to, when you make this week 8 announcement, to actually send people a 1-question survey, right? If we were to continue on as a group, what kind of support do you need most? Or another way to frame that question would be, if I were to custom build a way for us to continue this work together, what would you want that to look like?
I love that. Yeah. I
Great.
mean, I forget always sometimes, like, just ask the people what they want.
Totally.
Yes,
It's
I
just
love that.
it's too easy. Right? It can't be that easy. Yeah, because I think you're likely very clear, but it is just this is helpful for two reasons. Number one, you can give the people what they want, right? Number two, it's another from a sales perspective, what a great way to get these clients invested in continuing on if they are actually co-creating it with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love
Okay.
it.
Okay. So I think action step number one this week or the next time you meet, you make the announcement and you drop a link or you drop a link to the 1-question survey. You just
Mm-hmm.
ask people to take some time after the call to fill it in and get it back to you because you want to be able to continue to give them exactly what they need in the way that they need it.
Mm-hmm. I
Okay.
love it.
The other sense I'm having here is so you mentioned they need accountability, they need support. They how great to be able to normalize the roller coaster and also this sense of community because when the lab draws come, it's a different conversation with a fellow survivor than it is with your sister who's never been through the process.
Yep.
Yeah, got it. Got it. Okay. So let's imagine you get your surveys back. You may make adjustments, but imagine you get the surveys back and your theory about these 4 needs are accurate and this is what folks need. So if this took on um, the shape of traction, right, rather than building the foundation, And you got to dream and scheme, right? What shape would this program take?
I think I would like to invite like guest speakers in
Uh-huh.
to maybe like on a quarterly basis.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'd be too much, but you know, um, just to expose my clients to different things that perhaps
Mm-hmm.
they aren't exposed to. So, like for instance, I have a dear friend of mine who does astrology,
Cool.
and
Yeah.
she is so gifted and so amazing. And so, like having her on as a guest, just to because she analyzes you and gives you a perspective about what's to come in your year or the next 6 months or however often, right? And it's just really hopeful.
Yeah.
And she's just an amazing person too. So
Yes.
like I would want people to know about her, for instance.
Yes.
So like that would come to mind. Like having so not naturally, I mean, sure, I could have a lymphedema specialist, which is a condition that a lot of breast cancer survivors deal with, come on.
Mm-hmm.
And I would probably do something like that because I know a lot of really amazing women who do that.
Yeah. Yep.
However, I would also want to like implement a little bit more Brynn in this.
Mm-hmm. What does that
So,
say more about what that looks like?
well, I have this holistic approach to my healing and life after breast cancer, and it was acupuncture and astrology and walks in the woods. Like it was so different, I think, than you would envision. And so I just want to like put more of that out into the world.
Yeah. How fun. As I'm taking notes, what I wrote down was treating these members. So instead of, all right, come on, we're going to talk about lymphatic drainage, right? Instead, it's like, you know what we're going to do? I'm treating you to an astrology workshop,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, listeners, Brynn and I just completely lost our connection. So we have hopped over onto a different recording platform. If you notice a difference in the sound quality, now you know why. Before we lost the connection, Brynn and I were just talking about this idea of instead of just giving people more things to learn, let's treat them to community building, self nurturing experiences. So now you get to introduce them to things like astrology. You get to treat them to, okay, this month as a group, we are going to commit to getting out in nature every day for the next 30 days. You could have these little monthly themes or challenges. And again, this is really about living life after breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. So if I could share, the idea that came to mind for me was it would be so easy to just jam this full of stuff. And that's also not what people want,
Yep.
right? So I loved your idea of quarterly treats with speakers you adore. Maybe also once a quarter, it's some sort of monthly challenge or game,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then on top of that, every month, a support call with you where you all come together. And it's a coaching call, probably similar to what the Power Group has been doing up until now. Aw.
This is just perfect. This is what I
Aw.
want. Thank you. It feels really good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't think I'd get emotional, but thank you.
Oh, it's beautiful. No need to apologize. That's just really beautiful. I can see how important this is to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and then maybe the last bit, let me ask you now, what, if anything, do you have in place for your power groupers to connect between sessions? Like, do you have a text thread or a Facebook group or anything like that, or not really?
I didn't do it for the same reason. If they didn't need another thing to do,
Yeah.
I think with a challenge, right? post pictures and share them, or, that motivation. If we were to move to a monthly call or something, that I think that would be needed.
Yes. Yeah. So let me tell you a little bit about what I've learned about online gathering spaces. We made a big hullabaloo about leaving our Facebook group and going onto another platform. And that's just like throwing a party, and the date was wrong on the invitation. That's how it felt. So we were just like, hello, is anyone here? And the mistake there was, love it or hate it, Facebook is a platform that people are used to using. The app is already on their phone. They get notifications. So we went back, right? So you'll want to check in with the group and maybe give them three options to choose from, or two options to choose from. In the past, with a power group, because it's so intimate, we've just had a WhatsApp group, and that's been, so it's just like texting, and that's been so easy, and the WhatsApp was blowing up. So it doesn't have to be complicated, but it does need to be a platform that people are already accustomed to using.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Did we just design the What's Next program for your Power Group graduates?
Oh my gosh, I think so.
I think so too. Okay. That's so beautiful. So imagine now for a moment, let's just talk through how you'll take this design that you and I are super jazzed about and make aligned adjustments if you need to, based on the survey feedback.
Okay.
So what might your approach be around that?
I guess, right. I mean, if they say they need, part of my program is to provide recipes and grocery lists and meal plans. So if they're like, Brynn, that was great, I need more of that, then maybe I would need to figure out, I mean, I already have that seasonally, like I already have that built in, but maybe like how to have more of that.
Yes.
Like some kind of a database or something for that. Because I do get a lot of feedback about that specifically, that
Yes.
they're not overwhelmed with trying to find what to eat online.
Yeah. Great.
So maybe I already have a platform where I have some of that. So maybe I just need to be more elaborate is what
Okay.
I have. And then I guess just kind of see what they say, right? Because I don't
Totally.
know. I mean, but that would be the only thing that I could think of, because that is one thing that I get feedback on currently already is
Yeah.
give me more. So
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So even if it was as light as a fresh, like 3 recipes a month, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Just to keep it fresh and renewed. You don't have to create a huge catalog, but just this consistency. Okay, this sounds so exciting. Now, before I ask my next question, what questions are present for you right now?
So so the idea would be to roll into a monthly live session like we do already, with support. Maybe WhatsApp might be easiest. I have some folks in Canada. They probably are already using WhatsApp.
Yep.
So that would be easy. We could look at a Facebook group too, maybe, but I like the idea of like maybe something new, recipe wise every month. What I would like to know too, I mean, obviously we talked about quarterly guest speakers, but also like my big pie in the sky goal is to in-person retreats.
Yes.
I already have a retreat center picked out here in the mountains of North Carolina. I mean, like this is like my thing. That's what I want. So I could see how this could move into an offering with that too.
Totally. And what you can even do with this,
too big of a jump.
No, I mean, you could maybe don't call it a retreat. Relate to it like we're all going to get together, right?
Mhm.
And then the pressure is off of you, right? But what was my thought around this? I think you can position this where the retreat is not a promise, but it is an intention,
Oh, sure.
right? So our goal is, toward the end of the year, if all of the stars align for us to all get together at this retreat center that I'm so excited about. So that
Mhm.
way, if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it will work later.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, couple of suggestions. Number one, the people who were in your last power group, they deserve an invitation to continue on in this group.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Yes, of course.
yeah. And
Okay.
you can just be really clear, right? I dropped the ball on you. I should have thought of this earlier, but I've thought of it now, and here's what we're doing. You're welcome to come because I have a feeling because there's less meetings, there is a little bit more of a relaxed container.
Mhm.
Is your power group 4 people right now?
It's 3.
It's 3.
Mhm.
3, you're going to want more. You're going to want
Oh, yeah.
5.
Yep.
And I think this
Mhm.
container can sustain even up to 12, and it could feel very intimate and really like a community. So maybe there's a world where previous private clients who have graduated get an invite and your previous power group members get an invite, and we see if we can move from 3 to 5 people into
Ooh.
this community.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it'd be
great.
great. I would, yeah, and I agree. I wanted to max out my power groups at 4,
Yeah.
maybe 5 at the max, but 4. Um, and but I've gotten to 3 both times.
Yeah.
I've never made it to the 4. I don't know if that's me. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Well, if you think about it, even if you got to 2, that's a group because you plus 2 is 3. That is a group. So,
Yeah, true.
yeah, it'll grow. And the more, um, what I find is, the more you deliver your power group, the more concrete the offer is for you. And then it's easier to talk about and easier to therefore sell.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 Yeah. I do think that I like offering to even my private clients who've
Yeah.
graduated. I didn't even think of that.
Good. I'm glad I brought it up.
I mean, because it makes sense. Like, we all need support, right? So,
Totally.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a really great idea.
And what I'm in love with about this idea is that you're not putting people to work, right? You're not giving them more modules to watch. Instead, this is really about living, right? Living your life after breast cancer. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And then in that community space too, because
Mhm.
so much of the community space that I know is fear based and it's not action oriented, right? It's
Yep,
not showing you that there is life after cancer.
right. Yeah, I was imagining that too. Like free Facebook groups you may find could be very dangerous for your mental health.
Extremely. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So the next step is to create your 1 question survey.
Mhm.
Maybe it's 2 questions, right? What would you want it to look like? And number 2, would you like if we designed something to continue on, would you be in or not? Right? Because yes, you've got to ask that question because you don't want to take the person's suggestions who has no intention of continuing on and design that program. We want to know who would actually be interested in continuing.
Okay. Yeah. Should I send that survey to my my private clients who have graduated or just the group container?
Is this one of those circumstances where the more feedback, the better? Or is it a circumstance where too many cooks could enter this kitchen?
Ooh, that's a good point. I mean, I keep my client numbers small, so it's not
Yeah.
like it's like 100 people,
Yeah.
but I do hear what you're saying too.
You know what? There's no harm in sending it. You can decide how much weight you put on different people's feedback.
Okay.
I would prioritize the feedback from the people who are in the experience with you right now because they're most aligned and attuned.
Yes.
But I don't think there's any harm in sending it out. If nothing else, it's a great marketing strategy to get people thinking about this idea that there could be something coming their way.
Yeah. Well, and I love to check in with my prior clients
Yeah,
too. So it just gives me another reason to do that is what I was thinking too. So,
totally,
yeah.
totally. Okay, so we're going to send the survey. We're going to make any um, mandatory adjustments to what you've designed based on the survey. And
Mhm.
then remembering that less is more for this program. This is really about community. We're not putting people to work, we're treating them.
Mhm.
And then starting week 9, week 10, right? Weeks 10, 11, and 12 is when you can take some time at the beginning of those power group meetings to invite people into the next phase.
Okay.
And then inside the Hive curriculum, course number 7, simple sales strategies. We dropped the flash sale protocol, the sales email series into that course. And that
Okay.
would be a great thing to model to reach out to your previous clients and previous power group members.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I could do the survey
Yep.
and then do those emails separately from that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Great. Great. Okay. What, if any, other questions do you have around this?
Do I need to come up with a catchy name for what this group is? Or do I just, I mean, or does it just continue? Like what do I
I
need
know.
do I need it to be separate?
Right. So we have to put ourselves in the mind of your audience, right? Calling it something else will help them understand that it is something else. But they are in your world. They've already invested. So you don't have to call it anything catchy or fancy. The first word that came up for me was the community. It sounds a little culty, actually. Join the community, right?
You can come in, but you would never leave.
Yeah, right, right. But so yes, you should call it something different. I really don't recommend that you get yourself twisted up in having some sort of clever name, right?
Okay.
It could just be called like keep living, right? Or keep going,
Okay.
or better together.
Something. Okay.
Something so that in the client's mind, they understand, okay, this is not 12 more weeks with modules to watch. They understand that it is a different experience.
Yes. Okay. So, okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
So I do need to name it something, but yeah, it doesn't need to be glitzy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because you have to complete the 12 weeks, whether that's privately or in a power group before you're even eligible to
Yes.
join the cult. So silly. The other suggestion I have, if it resonates,
Yeah.
is I would recommend positioning this as stay as long as it's serving you. So there's,
Yeah.
unlike a power group where it was, okay, we're in this for 12 weeks. Now, because you're opening it up and it's not just 3 people coming together for 12 weeks, um, it's stay as long as it's serving you. You're welcome to stay. And
Mhm.
if you find that you ever feel complete, there's no obligation to stay longer than it's serving you.
Oh yeah. I love that. And
Yeah.
that would be my intentions too,
Yeah.
right? Just
Yeah.
have it kind of be open-ended to whatever
Yeah.
you I like that. That's a good way of putting it
And
too.
I think setting it up this way will help for those circumstances where it's a random, it's the month of June and you happen to sign a private client who then wraps up and wants to roll into the community. You don't have to have official cohorts or start dates. There can be rolling enrollment into the community.
Right. And that's thank you for saying that because that's what I was stuck on that a little bit and we kind of I feel like we got a little clarity around that. So it was like, oh yeah, so this is just a rolling enrollment because that's what want. The
Yeah.
12 weeks already is its own little thing, but this will just be, like you said, stay as long as you want. I don't know, you probably don't let people come and go? No, once they
No.
go, they're gone, right?
Once they go, yeah, I mean,
I
it's
mean,
tricky, right? Like, too bad. So what you want to be mindful of is that that the messaging of this doesn't even subtly imply that it's a membership where you can come and go at any single month. This is like you're in the community, right? We're thriving together. And then you just want to think about your terms, perhaps. And this is an idea to get you thinking more than a suggestion, but maybe you can stay it's a 3-month minimum. From there, you can decide to stay. I know you're going to want to because it's incredible, right? You can decide to stay for as long as it's serving you. And then if someone lets you know they're going to be leaving, that's when the conversation comes around, great, we understand. If you do want to come back, they have to wait up to 6 months. They can't just come and go. And when they do come back, it's another 3-month minimum requirement.
ooh, oh yeah, that seems totally reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. And I like the 3-month minimum too, to know that let's try and keep this for a little bit, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is not some sort of, I want to take your money and trap you. Instead, we're really building a community. So it's not fair to you or to the other members for people to just be coming and going.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Any other thoughts or questions before we wrap this up?
I'm sure I'll think of something when I'm in the shower later, but right
Yes.
now, and
Come
I
to a
know,
Hive call. Yeah, we can
I know,
cover it later. Yeah.
but no, I feel so good. Like, I mean, this is what I want, and
So beautiful.
it is. It's just, I feel like I mean, I hate to say the word, but it's just perfect.
Ah, yay. I'm so
Like,
glad.
yeah, and I'm like, I just couldn't do this by myself, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. And how lucky for you that you get to build this community, but how lucky for these people, right? Who you're really serving and bringing together in a way that helps them live and thrive. So I'm excited for you and excited for them.
Thank you.
All right. So for our listeners, if you have been wondering, 2 takeaways I want you to grab onto here. Number 1, you always got to think about what comes next for folks. For 2 reasons. You're building a business here, right? But also, there are people who don't want to leave. So we have to keep them in mind and understand what is the next way to serve them. So keep that in mind, even with private clients. And then number 2, remember that it can be simple. Often, after people do the heavy lifting with you, there comes a time where what they crave the most is that accountability, is a simple container. More bells and whistles doesn't always equal more value. All right, Brynn, thank you for coming on the show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and we will hear you again really soon.